If there's one thing we know and love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's that nothing happens by accident. Marvel Studios is playing the long game here, especially with its huge blockbuster movies like Avengers: Infinity War. During the movie, we saw Doctor Strange look at over 14 million futures to find out where our heroes emerge victorious against Thanos. But could there be a reason he stopped at 14,605 futures specifically? Out of all the various characters, Dr. Stephen Strange is perhaps the most precise and calculated of them all. We've seen him effectively wield an Infinity Stone, which is something few characters are capable of, and even fewer humans. Not only does Dr. Strange manage to use the Time Stone confined within the Eye of Agamotto, but he does so competently and purposefully. In the movie Doctor Strange, we saw him go from practically blowing up the library to using it to defeat the dreaded being Dormammu. We aren't sure exactly how long Dr. Strange spent in that seemingly infinite time loop with Dormammu, but we do have some insight into the impact of this adventure. Screenwriter Robert Cargill declined to comment on saying how long Doctor Strange was in the time loop, but he did say it was long enough to gain even more mastery over his powers. We can assume he's able to proceed with his Time Stone related actions in the same brilliant and carefully calculated manner he approaches everything else. Trying to give himself and his friends an edge in their upcoming battle, Doctor Strange looked into various futures in an attempt to find one in which our heroes were able to defeat Thanos. He notes that he checked out 14,605 possible futures and saw Thanos lose in only one of them. After looking into various futures, Doctor Strange exchanges the Time Stone for Tony Stark's life, which leads to Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones and wiping out half of all life in the universe. Haha! So up until this point, a lot of speculation has understandably focused on what Doctor Strange saw in that one future where Thanos loses. And after all, we're kind of hoping our heroes manage to undo the decimation at some point during Avengers Endgame. Otherwise, Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be a really grim affair. But why did Doctor Strange take a look at 14,605 futures specifically? Redditor R.N. Luxon had an interesting theory about why Doctor Strange chose that number of possible futures to look into. The theory hinges on the idea that the decimation had to happen. If Doctor Strange was attempting to put some sort of plan in motion and he knowingly and freely gave Thanos the Time Stone, then we can assume that was part of the plan. It's possible the decimation had to happen and Doctor Strange knew it could be undone. If Doctor Strange was trying to set up the decimation to take place in a certain way, the possible futures he looked into might factor into this plan. The theory also points out that all the heroes in the MCU are most likely going to have to work together in order to bring down Thanos. There are 24 heroes taking part in the fight against Thanos during Infinity War. There's Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch, War Machine, Falcon, Hawkeye, and Vision. Then we have the 7 characters from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, including Drax the Destroyer, Groot, Rocket, Star-Lord, Mantis, Nebula, and Gamora. We also have Bucky Barnes, Spider-Man, Heimdall, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Okoye, and Shuri. If you're keeping track at home, that brings our score to 24 total heroes fighting against Thanos. During Infinity War, we said goodbye to Gamora and Heimdall, but we know we'll be getting 2 other heroes during Endgame, namely Captain Marvel and Ant-Man. Vision is a unique variable because while he perished in Infinity War, it happened when Thanos was tearing the Mind Stone out of his head. It's possible there are some other futures where Shuri managed to extract the Mind Stone and Vision survived. Each character has 2 ultimate options during the Endgame. They can live or they can die, obviously. 2 to the 24th power gives us 16,777,216 possible futures, which is more than Doctor Strange looked at. Omitting Vision, we only have 23 heroes, or 8,388,608 futures. But if there are futures where Vision stayed alive until the snap, that would give us a maximum 8.4 million possibilities of Vision staying alive. Although, considering the death toll of Infinity War, this number is probably too high. We're still short 5,611,997 futures, which is 66.9% of 8,388,608, or almost exactly 2/3. If in 2/3 of the futures, Thanos rips the Mind Stone away from Vision, but in the remaining 1/3 he survives, that brings us plus up to 14 million futures, only one of which our heroes win. Is it possible Doctor Strange chose this number specifically based on this logic, or are we simply looking too hard for answers? We wouldn't put something like this past Marvel Studios, but then again, we've been guilty of seeing connections where they don't exist before. What do you think of this theory, which explains why Doctor Strange looked into 14,605 futures specifically? Do you think it has some hidden meaning, or is it nothing more than a coincidence? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more MCU videos. Thanks for watching.